If you are stuck in back pain and it feels like there's no way out, it feels like your next flare-up is right around the corner and it could happen at any moment, you are not alone. There are millions of people with the exact same problem. And in this video, I will go over the 3 biggest mistakes people make when they are looking for a solution for their back pain. As a bonus at the end of the video, I will share what 3 things that you need to do to start the journey of permanently eliminating, reducing your back pain. And while I do this, hopefully you don't mind, but I'll be doing my weekly mobility routine that I do to keep all the muscles in and around my spine nice and strong, nice and open, nice and loose for the week. The first most common mistake people do is their treatment strategy is rooted in avoidance. What I mean by that is most people invest in quick fix strategies. The treatment that most people use to solve their back pain relies on a quick fix. The issue is the root cause of back pain is weakness in and around the spine, and many people attempt to cure their back pain without getting any stronger. And I mean, there's no common sense in that approach. Many people try things that avoid the root cause, like stretching, pain relief drugs, the only exercise you'll ever need YouTube videos, pain relief drills, steroid injections, rest ice compression, and elevation, which, by the way, was quickly proven ineffective after it was proposed as a treatment. And actually the best way to heal is getting movement, blood flow, and doing the exact opposite of rice. So it's really unfortunate that people still rely on that method and it's actually hurting them. And you're probably wondering why I mentioned stretching and it looks like I'm doing a stretch, right? Now, my training style is rooted in building strength in stretched positions. So although this may look like a stretch, I'm actually actively pushing my foot into the wall, trying to kick the wall as hard as I can and squeezing my butt at the same time instead of just stretching. So I'm building strength here. It's almost like I'm pushing off of the wall. So now I'm not saying that stretching is bad, but if it's the only thing that you do and you don't address your weakness, stretching doesn't help. None of these treatment strategies strengthen the tissue, the muscle, the tendon, the ligaments, the cartilage, the fascia, the bone, the discs in and around the spine. All of those treatment strategies are rooted in avoiding the weakness of those tissues. And that's the root cause of the pain, is weakness in those tissues. The law of entropy tells us that anything left to itself falls further and further into disorder. So if you leave your weakness by itself, your body will continue down the path of weakness until you can't handle your daily life without pain, until you can't get in and out of the car without back pain, until you can't put on your socks and shoes without pain, until you can't get up and down the stairs without pain. If you avoid your weakness, it'll turn into more weakness until you are unable to live a pain-free life. I mean, at the beginning of time, God did not put Abraham in the garden to sit and watch the garden. Like, life is not set up that way. God did not set it up that way. God put Abraham in the garden to keep and to cultivate the garden. And God made us from the dust of the ground and breathed his life into us to give us life. And he made us like a garden. And we are also the gardener. If we do not keep and cultivate our garden that is our body, weeds will pop up and grow until all of the desirable plants that produce good fruit are choked out and can no longer grow and produce for us. If you don't keep and cultivate your body so weakness cannot sprout, and you don't replace that weakness with strength, with a good, desirable plant that will produce good fruit in your future, pain and injury risk will exponentially grow every day that you avoid the problem. Just like any weed that springs up in your backyard or in your garden, if you garden, as soon as those things are ignored, they sprout up and they spread everywhere. And that's exactly how weakness acts. The second biggest mistake people make is that they believe their pain, they believe back pain is inevitable and irreversible. Many people believe that back pain is a result of age. Back pain is inevitable in their future because it's hereditary. Many people believe it is irreversible, unfortunately. And I have some bad news for you. If you believe that lie, your back pain is inevitable and irreversible as well. And here's why. If you believe that back pain is inevitable in your future, or it's irreversible if you are already experiencing back pain, when you are presented with the solution, you will be unable to believe that the solution will work for you, even if it's worked for hundreds or even thousands of other people. And that belief will prevent you from pursuing the solution and trying it out. You will come up with every single excuse in the book. Oh, I don't have time. My back pain is hereditary. So is my back pain. I have degenerative disc disease or spondylolysis or a bulged disc, or my body can't bend like that anymore. My joints are too old. Those are all excuses. And the reason that your body is like that is because you avoid it. You let the weak grow and sprout. You let the weakness spread. The reality is people believe that their back pain is an end-all be-all because they don't want to put in the hard work and sacrifice some time and energy in the now to achieve a life that's exponentially better in the future. Now, before I continue, I know there are tons of people out there that look for solutions constantly and search for real permanent solutions, and I'm not talking about you. These are the kind of people that continue to complain and complain and complain about their back pain, but they do nothing about it. And they think that age is a determining factor. Their genetics are a determining factor, but they don't do anything to address their problems. So props to you if you're in back pain, you're listening to this and you're still searching, you're still looking for that solution. Some of these exercises I would try if I were you. And to be clear, this is the level that I have worked up to in this training session for the last 2 years to be able to do pretty much in my sleep. So these exercises are likely going to need to be regressed for you, especially if you're starting in pain. I was nowhere near this when I started out, and that's because I was extremely weak and extremely tight. And all of these exercises expose tightness and weakness around the spine. Except these calf exercises, this is just something that I'm throwing in today. I think it's worth going over this quick little topic before I get to the third mistake. Back pain is not just what it is. Back pain will control every aspect of your life if you look for solutions rooted in avoidance and you do not address your weakness. What I mean by that is it literally becomes your master. It tells you what you can do and what you can't do. It tells you how long you can do certain things that you used to love and enjoy without any pain. It determines the quality of your relationships because your pain brings your whole entire focus in towards yourself and honestly just puts you in a constant depressive state. This is what I am called to do, is I'm called to help people who are stuck in their back pain. So everything that I put out from here on, all of the exercises that I'm doing will help you get out of back pain. Just finding your entry point that is not painful. In other words, you start working at your pain-free ability level and slowly build up from there. That's exactly what I did with these exercises. Get out of pain, and I'm extremely thankful to be able to sit here with without any pain in my spine to be able to move however I choose. And that's not to brag, that's just to say it takes hard work confronting weakness, and this didn't just happen in a couple of months, this took a couple of years. So these exercises are ones to master, especially if you've gone through an injury. Another thing that kind of pops into my mind about back pain being your master is I used to live in a constant state of anxiety and fear because my wife and I at the time lived in a third floor apartment, and I was literally afraid of the fact that we were going to move soon. And the thought of lifting something on the ground sometimes brought physical pain because it would hurt so many times, and I was just living in that state of anxiety, and it was just something that I wouldn't wish on anybody. With that said, the third mistake that people make is they believe that movement is dangerous. I used to believe that moving the spine was dangerous. I used to believe that bending the spine and using the spine was bad for it. Okay. Now, the reality is the spine was designed to move. God made it abundantly clear that the spine was able to move because there are over 120 muscles that connect to the spine. There are 220 ligaments, 139 joints. And with that information alone, it's only logical that the spine was made to move, and made to move well, and made to move side to side, forward, backward, all, twisting, rotating, all of the different movements. With all of this structure and joints, and a joint is literally the ability of something to move. Like wherever you have a joint is where you are able to move, right? And instead of one joint like there is in the elbow, there's hundreds in the spine. So that just tells you that it's made to move, and God made it that way. The major problem is many people's spines are so weak from avoidance that all of these muscles and this structure and all of this tissue in and around the spine has decayed and deteriorated and become so weak that when somebody goes and tries, for example, a Jefferson curl, their back flares up. And it's because this exercise is not for somebody to start out with. Like I said, I've built up to being able to do that without even thinking. And so like the Jefferson curl starts right here with the elephant walk, getting into as much flexion as you can without causing any pain, bending your knees, straightening each leg, getting a little bit of movement on the back side of the spine, and also starting to build strength in this rounded position. This is literally where you start, and then you can progress lower as it becomes more comfortable until you can handle, maybe it's just part of the Jefferson curl, and then being able to handle your body weight in this bottom position, and then slowly adding load, making sure it all feels good. And one of the biggest problems is these professionals that have never gone through actual back pain share these exercises that don't show a clear scale of ability to somebody who is actually in chronic back pain or had a pretty serious injury. Then that person sees this exercise, tries it, back flare up, and now the belief that movement is bad is reinforced. That's a real and impactful, in a negative way, problem. And it's out there all over. There are so many quick fix exercises, or the only exercise that you need to cure your back pain, or do these 3 exercises every single day and you'll never have to worry about back pain. Like, that's all rooted in quick fix, avoiding a root problem. Because I don't do these exercises every day. I do them once a week, sometimes twice a week if I'm a little bit more tight, or if I need a little bit more mobility work, right? If you have to do something every single day to stay out of pain, it's likely that that's an avoidance strategy, and it's gonna lead to some major problems down the road. And then if it does lead to problems down the road, then somebody's gonna believe that it's age-related. And so it's just a cycle of believing the wrong things. Now, with that said,
if you are somebody who is searching for a way out and to cure your back pain,
here's what I suggest that you do to start permanently eliminating your back pain starting today. First, you need to address what's weak
and build your back ability.
Your pain is a result of weakness.
Find where you're tight, find where you're weak, and slowly introduce movement to that area, making sure that it feels good, it's pain-free.
And it builds a little bit of strength in that area. If you work through pain, that means that your body is literally unable to handle whatever you're doing without causing damage. And that's most likely gonna make things worse. So keep everything pain-free. These weak areas, I'm showing a lot of them right now. Deep rounding position, hamstring tightness, glute tightness, low back tightness, couch stretch, front of the hip, quad tightness. Here, I'm addressing my inner thigh flexibility and strength. And so these common weak areas are front of the hip, inside of the hip, outer hip, back of the hip, lower spine, beside the lower spine, upper back and posture. And also calf tightness is a big one as well. Okay. And you can't forget the lower core muscles. Those are almost always looked over and very, very weak. Okay. So find what's weak. These areas are gonna give you some clues, and slowly introduce movement and make those strong, putting in little deposits of strength every single week, every other day, every day, however often you're able to handle these exercises and recover, and you'll slowly work your way out. The second thing is you must believe that your pain is reversible, and if you're not in pain yet or you got out of pain, it is preventable. Now let me ask you this. Have you ever wondered what people that are without back pain are able to do, how they're able to move? Have you looked at the difference between people who are out of pain and in pain? Most of the time, you will be able to see a common factor. And the reality is there are people permanently reducing their back pain right now using proven methods. So there is nothing more important than your belief, because your belief is going to determine your actions, and if you are going to take action on any of these proven methods when they are delivered or when you come across them. If you believe that you can prevent, you can reverse your back pain, you will find a way. And a question that you might have is, well, how do I know if something's going to work before, I try it? And unfortunately, the answer is you don't know. You won't know until you try it. And so you're gonna have to try some things. What I recommend that you do is find someone who has solved their own back pain and is helping others get out of back pain. Find someone who is getting results with other people. Then try their methods. If whatever the program is, if it addresses your weakness, you know you're on the right path. And you'll get better over time. And if it doesn't solve your back pain, or it doesn't completely solve your back pain over a long period of time, try something else that addresses a different weakness. So this is the strategy that I took in the beginning. The third and last thing is you have to believe that movement is medicine. Like I said earlier, the spine was made to move. God made your spine, my spine, everyone's spine to move a lot and to move well. So slowly introducing movement into those weak and tight areas at a pain-free level will be your path out. Movement is key, and movement is medicine. If you avoid these 3 mistakes and you adopt these 3 things, address what's weak and build your pain-free ability, believe that your back pain is preventable and reversible, and you believe that movement is medicine, your back pain will start to disappear. Thank you so much for watching, and if this video has helped you, like it, comment, subscribe for more content like this in the future, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Take care.